Good morning to all, and welcome to all our distinguished guests as well as the students and faculty from other universities, institutes and Lucknow University for joining in this webinar on research methodology. The Research Cell, University of Lucknow, was a new initiative by our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Alok Kumar Rai, but unfortunately he is unable to be there with us today due to some urgent work. And this webinar has been specially organized by for our students. So who wish to pursue their research in this or take up research as their career. So we have got distinguished speakers from other universities and institutions covering a whole lot of subjects today. And today is a very good day. It is actually Guru Purnima. So I was not aware of it actually because of the busy schedule. But I'm very happy that I could dedicate this day to my gurus and my teachers for whom we have been here today, and we are able to do this webinar. So thank you, teachers, and also the students. They are also our teachers at times. I think all the faculty will agree with me. So I welcome all of you to this webinar today, and happy Guru Purnima to all. And now I hand over the platform to Dr. Mani Srivastava, who is our additional dean in the research cell, and Dr. Ashutosh Singh, also additional dean of Research Cell, University of Lucknow. So I once again welcome you all on behalf of the university. And this webinar has been organized under the guidance of our Honorable Vice Chancellor, our Dean Students Welfare and Head of Physics Department, Professor Poonam Tandon, and Dean Academics, Professor Arvind Mohan sir. They were there yesterday. I don't know whether they have joined today. Thank you, sir and ma'am. And I welcome again all of you. And Dr. Mani, you can just take over and introduce our first speaker for today, Dr. Ravi Kumar Mahajan from Punjab University.
Thank you, ma'am. But before beginning, because today is Guru Purnima, so I'd just like to say, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Deva Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. So on this platform today, मैं सभी अपने गुरुजनों को शत नमन करती हूँ. लखनऊ यूनिवर्सिटी के सारे गुरुजन, मेरे गुरुजन और सभी के गुरुजनों को नमन करती हूँ. आज जैसे मैम ने कहा, ये बहुत ही अच्छा दिन हमें मिला जिस दिन हम इस वेबिनार को कर पा रहे हैं. So to begin with, I will just like to introduce the first speaker, who is Professor Ravi K. Mahajan, and he is the Professor and Coordinator of Statistics, Punjab University. And in the backdrop of his qualifications in statistics and computers and professional exigencies, since 1977 and 78, he has grown as a distance educator with contributions towards the system of distance education and subject of statistics. He is notable in making Punjab University the pioneer amongst traditional universities catering to distance education on two counts. First, initiating computerization in 1989, and second, in giving online learning experiences and online study material to the distant students by putting PG distance education on internet in 2010. At IIT Kanpur in March 1992, he was the first to introduce e-learning venture developed with DBase. His main research interests are research methodology, applied statistics, and distance education. Sir has also written innumerable papers in national and international journals, as well as he has coordinated number of projects. I'm very, very thankful, sir, for you being here. And now the dais is all yours. I invite you to please say a few words.
So you can share your screen.
Sure. Thank you very much. It is a treat to be here. I'm delighted that I'm addressing from here to there. At the outset, I must express my deep, profound thanks to Professor Banerjee and her team for giving me this platform, because when we say that we are teachers, so teachers are always keen to share whatever they know, and more so when it happens to be the day of Guru Purnima. So I shall not be speaking much on these formal dialogues. I will be, just because the time is very limited. But before I start, I must also express my delight to see Dr. Ritu Narang around. This is what I used to do, and I'm doing it again. This is my building. This building is where I have spent more than more than 43 years now. And on the auspicious day of Guru Purnima, I must express my deep gratitude to this building, where I have worked a lot. And I have worked to my satisfaction. And incidentally, when I'm speaking with you, I stand for on this day. That is the best of the story. So this will be my first webinar as a superannuated person, but I'm sure I'll be getting such platforms time and again. Well, I always request my participants that always respect the persons, the values which has given you to work and to earn. So always try to respect the buildings wherever you are, where you work, from where you have got some little bit of knowledge. Well, this is the webinar focusing research methodology, understanding the science and art of research. Science of arts and research. This is a very interesting topic, because research is usually taken as science, seldom at arts, particularly in modern days. We always are focusing on research as a scientific aspect, but seldom we talk about the art. There is an element of, definitely there is an art, because articulation is also required from that angle. Well, I'm not supposed to expand on this, because my topic is slightly into W's. This is what I have opted to go for. 6 W's are the words which are the key words around which I'll be making my presentations. So research, we know what is the research, everybody talks about it, but the moment we talk about research, there are 3 terms which often come to our mind. Rather 4 terms. One is the problem, then there is a topic, problem, then we have statement, then we have the questions. This is a topic, for example, this topic could be of higher education, that we are working in the field of higher education. Then the problem is why students are not there in classes. This is one. Then the purpose is we want to study why they are not attending. And then the question is chalk and talk not able to satisfy the students? We can have another example. Scene 2, we are looking for the word of entertainment. The word, broader perspective is entertainment. And then the problem is audience in the theater. And the purpose is why we are not coming up. Then one question is, does the ambience is talking about that? So by the end of the day, now what is the research? Research is at the lowest level talking about answering a question. There are so many things that we can talk about, but right now I'll be focusing on only one dimension, that is we want to answer a question. Now, once we are talking about answering a question, then we should be very clear. This question could address to any one of these dimensions. It could be decided, it should be comparing, it could be of standards, policy, motivation. So question could be addressing any of these 5 dimensions. So again, we have these array where we can say what happens, who, where, when, why. These are the basic questions that we talk about research. So when it comes to defining research, there are a number of definitions that we can always dwell on. But my take is very simple, that we say it is a process, thoroughly studying and analyzing the given situation and surrounding problems. So we are again focusing on a situation, a question, but a process. So this could be seen as our question, answer, and process. Means input output mechanism is writ large in this format also. So once we talk about research, there are different ways we always teach students, and more often than not, we focus on these dimensions. That research is having these following approaches. They are followed when you are pursuing research. You desire, you should have desire, you should have it, you should have review of literature, but focus largely boils down to your data collection. Focus largely boils down to data and data collection and analysis. That is the main focus on which I'll be dwelling, because other things are usually we can be talking about in the frame of art, usually in the frame of art, but once it comes to the data collection, which provides sound footing to the whole pyramid of our knowledge. I'm sure the researchers are reminded of this fact that our knowledge pyramid is very sharp. We have a reality. On the basis of reality, we get into some data. On the basis of data, we drive some information. The information about information is our knowledge. So that pyramid is very sharp pyramid, and I'm sure most of the researchers, they are quite sensitized to that pyramid. So my focus over here will be only very small but very important, because all your planning will go just for asking if you are not very particular about the data collection and more so about its analysis. So what is data? You know, data could be talked about in a number of ways. The moment you think about data, primary, secondary data, categorical data, measurable data, and then we can have data, we can understand data in so many ways. There are different terminologies which come up whenever you talk about the data or data collection or handling data, techniques of analyzing data. So there are different ways we can understand the data. So, but the best part is always prefer to discuss data in the light of nominal scale, ordinal scale, interval scale, and ratio scale. Once you get into these groups, and once you get into this understanding or talking about data in terms of scales, you will find all other terminologies which I have just listed over there. They can be, these terminologies could be easily taken care of by the nominal scale, because once you say nominal scale data could be given the treatment of a discrete data, could be given the treatment of qualitative data or otherwise. So these terminologies are there, and recently this is another way to understand data. Those who are interested more about data, they can always go to YouTube. This is what I have in the course. The first lockdown that we were given to face because of Corona. So I just had worked on different terms which are there in the um, related with the data. So you can have a look on this YouTube. It's a 7-8 minute documentary which will showcase how the data is all about. Well, data, when you talk about data, basic question as a researcher is what data, from where to get data, how to collect data, how much of data to be collected, how we will collect data. So I'll try to answer a few set of questions from this perspective. So this is what my research process is, that we know that we should have to follow this, and data collection is there. So as a researcher, how do we get data? Means how do we get information which is to be processed? So once we say, okay, we are going to collect data, means we are going to ask certain questions. That is the basic thing that we talk about. Now these questions could be asked in so many ways. They could be asked in the contingency format, they could be asked in the metric format, closed-ended, open-ended. So there are different ways in which we can talk about the approaches. For example, I'll just go through this very quickly. Contingency means you ask one question, then you more approach that next set of questions depending on the response of the person to your present question. Then matrix format is another where you have rows and columns building up and you try to answer it. Close-ended means you give the option, and open-ended options are lost. But as a researcher, if you are a genuine researcher, I always ask my researchers, particularly this the social sciences, that always prefer the open-end questions. Closed-end questions are very convenient for analyzing. Matrix questions are easy for analysis. contingency questions are easy for analysis. But all the three segments that we talk about, they are constrained to your understanding of your frame. So your answers can never be the ultimate answer which you propose to the respondent to reply back within that frame. But open-end questions, they are the real side. They give the real insight into the problems or the real answers into the question. And these are the most difficult to analyze because they emerge in the unstructured format. So data analysis is very convenient when the data is structured. But as a researcher, we are not interested in the convenience of data analysis. Please mark my word. I am saying that as a researcher, convenience of data analysis is not my take. My take is to get at the answer. So for the sake of convenience, that once we get a structured data, we can easily process. In that way, our PhD or research paper is done within half an hour, the moment you analyze it. But the issue is, are we going to go by convenience or that? So try to find out the open-end question. Means respondents are to be asked to speak whatever they feel like speaking on a particular issue. Maybe that you get something, to make it more comfortable for yourself, you can always have a parallel close-ended question, set of questions where you can take, but in the process of merging it with your open-end questions, you can always have it. So this is what I have been saying as a researcher, that when you are following this, you will always find that the technique of getting real information, unstructured information, or the information which is hidden is always very thrilling. And most of our queries are answered in a better way when we merge these two techniques. Of course, you can always merge all the four techniques, but my message is always go for some open-ended, the scope for open-ended. So then there is another dimension. I'm sorry, I'm not able to expand on this because usually for these type of lectures, you spend about hours, 2 or 3 hours. So that is something different, but it is good that we are having some go into the program. Well, sources and shades of data. This is another challenge for the researchers. What is sources? Sources, we talk about data collection, primary, secondary, but source is also to be understood in terms of the decision-making unit and characteristic of interest. So these are the two things that we should be focusing. Why I'm saying decision-making unit means who is the real person who is deciding about the decision for a response to a question. That is my take. For example, let us talk about this voting pattern. We ask the respondent some questions as psephologist or some say quick taker on the exit polls or something like that, that who is going to be there. Now the point is, the person who is casting the vote, is he going by his own thinking or is influenced by somebody else? He is casting vote, very sure, but why he is casting vote? He or she is the only person who has decided whom to cast vote. To make the example very convenient, let's have another one. Pepsodent and Colgate. Now this is a very typical example. We are looking for, as a researcher or we as a professional, which toothpaste is liked and what are the reasons for that. So now the issue is whom we are going to address. Who is the deciding factor? Do we know it? At times we are not aware of that. For example, we may ask the head of the family, we may ask the lady over there, we may ask the kids over there, but you never know. The kid who is yet to answer properly, he's simply say 3-4 years kid who is saying I want to have jharwala type of the thing. So maybe that he's eventually the small kid, the child is prevailing on the whole decision making process. So point is that when we are going into the grooves of research in the data collection, let us be very clear that who is our decision making unit, who is eventually deciding about the response of procurement or about anything. So that decision making unit has to be tapped. So mostly we go by the superficial decision making units that is not there. So as a researcher, you have to have the all inputs about who is the real or genuine decision making unit in our whole, who is the most competent person can give us the right answer. Well, then this is another challenge which is always with us as a researcher. Now, characteristic of interest means what we are going to measure. We know we are going to develop questionnaires. The questionnaire will have certain set of questions. These questions could be decided on the basis of our approach, whether we are going to follow matrix approach, close-end open-end questionnaire, whatever it is. But the point is, on which characteristics of interest we are going to focus on questions. What should be the dimension, what should be the scope of our questions, how these questions have to be generated, in which scheme we have to develop these questions. So in that context, I have a very simple approach, and that approach has helped me in getting so many typical issues resolved, whether they were from science, from the social sciences, even language issues, they were resolved by when you go by this technique of 2 by 2 matrix. I always have been promoting that for finding out the characteristic of interest means where the focus of researcher is, we should go by 2 by 2 matrix. This is provide you a correct message. And this is a very simple method. Of course, there are so many ways in which you can think of how to develop a questionnaire and what are the dimensions that we are going to answer. But I'll try to convince you that this is a very simple approach, and it is going to be quite decisive about your research works. So what is that? This is a 2 by 2 table where we have 4 characteristics. Number 1, broadly we have divided the characteristics into 2 categories. One is the basis of their measurements and the basis of their nature. So when it comes to the measurement, we have certain characteristics which could be measured objectively. Then there are few characteristics which have to be inferred upon. And similarly, there are certain characteristics which are general in nature, and then there are others which are situation specific. For example, in cell number 1, what we have, the characteristics which are general in nature and which could be measured objectively. For example, every researcher is he or she starts with one question: what is your name? What is your age? You are male, female, married, unmarried, employed, unemployed. All these questions, you will find these questions figure in almost all the surveys of social sciences. And in sciences also, we have certain chemicals, some acids, which are figuring there in your research designs. So where we are talking about? We are talking about first cell, where the characteristics are generally measured and these are objectively measured. And these are in the context of social sciences, we always say that these are the characteristics which are socio-economic dimensions. Then there are characteristics which are general in nature, but these are inferred upon. General in nature. General in nature, what? They will be they are inferred upon. In sense, want to see whether the person whom you are asking a question is having that background to answer the question or not, whether he's basically intelligent, whether he's basically having that economic profile. When I'm going to address some upcoming brands of, say, cars or some trousers. So what is their question? Questions are: what is your income? What are your qualifications? From that questions, we try to infer about the background of that respondent, whether they are able or they will be in a situation to answer the questions which are as per the design of my research project. So that is the general in nature. Then what happens about the situation specific? Now these are the real questions which address to research project. For example, if I'm looking for a person will refer Coca-Cola or not, Coca-Cola or Pepsi-Cola, whether or Colgate, whether party A or party B, who is going to vote. So this cell T is objective nature and it is situation specific. Objective nature means what? That if I'm looking for a case where the blend of say stock is the brand of soft drinks is to become doctors. So my questions become simple. My questions become simple. I ask them, do you take Coca-Cola or Pepsi-Cola? So they decide about it. They can answer me yes or no. They can answer me yes or no. And then I can ask them how much Coca-Cola will I, how much quantity of your soft drink will take. So my all the questions will be responded in a way which are objectively measured. I take 2 bottles, I take 3 bottles, I take 1 bottle. If I talk about say voting pattern, do you cast your votes? Yes. So all the questions which are going to be there, they'll be objectively measured as per the situation. And then there is a fourth cell which is to be inferred upon. And inferred upon means why you are casting votes, why you are casting vote, why you take Coca-Cola, why you are not taking Pepsi Cola. So these are the questions which are always going to be there, and these are to be answered to the cell number 4. So we have 4 cells which count that. So in this case, we can always say that a cell number 4, 5, 6. So cell number 1 is your objective result, but there are demographic bias, and these designated variables means they are to be treated as the independent variables, and they are the dependent variables. So point is, the moment you will say it, the whole of your analysis is very well taken care of. The moment you are able to focus on the cells and their related questions, you'll find whole of your study is taken care of. For example, if you're focusing on this, you will find that the characteristics which are generally measured could be scaled on nominal scale, ordinal scale, inferred interval scale, or ratio scale. I'm sorry, I'm not able to dwell on these scales because this is something different and it will take another half an hour like that. Anyway, I assume that these are so once you are clear about the scale, your analysis will also be taken care of. So this is the scale which is inferred upon, and then we have scale number 3 where we are going to get the ultimate answers, and then we have these answers coming from that. And cell number 4, I'm saying, is the most important and very difficult to answer. I will be always giving this example since the days of Maruti, when Maruti discontinued its most popular brand Zen and brought out Estido. Do you think Maruti did not work on that? They worked on tremendously on bringing out a new product, but where did they go wrong? They were wrong only in understanding the cell number 4, from where they had to reach out the masses. And what is the cell number 4? That why is the most difficult answer. To measure cell number 4, as a social scientist, we always have these scales coming into the count. Why do we need scale? I'm sure most of the researchers are conversant with these techniques: Likert scale, semantic differential scale, Q-sort technique, multi-dimensional scale. All these scales are developed or used for the purpose of getting answer to the cell number 4. And all these are giving us the better insight, which is largely metaphysical. Remember, cell number 1, objectively measure, cell number 3, objectively measure. They give you the physical dimension, which you can measure easily. But cell number 3 and cell number 4, they are a little bit difficult, and more so, cell number 4 is the most difficult part. And if you are through with that, you have done your research. Now, what happens in this case? This is my final take because I see the time is running out. Now, let me talk about these 4 cells in the context of my 6 Ws or 5 Ws or 1 4. Now, what happens? We get all the 4s, how and why they are answered by cell number 4. Other dimensions are so simple, so self-explanatory. Who did it? When he did it? But answer to this, why and how, they are the real things which decide the whole spectrum of our research. And when I close this, I'll simply remind you of this final equation, that 3 is function of 1, 2, and 4. 3 is a function of. What is our research? Research is you see something, then you try to explore the answers. Cell number 3 is what you observe. I observe, what I observe, that people are casting their vote to party A. So party A means a person who is getting votes because of A, because of 2, and the function is 4. 4 decides about everything. So that is how we get it. So I'm sure with this dimension, I'll be able to finally close that one. This is whole research is taken care of. Y is your output that you observe, and these are your inputs. Maybe demographic profiles, maybe your factors with the some genetics, genetical factors are there. Maybe that this. So cell number 4 is giving you this equation equal to when they are going to be said to be equal. So this is, I think, I could hurriedly go through my topic where I'm able to convince that whenever you're going to go for research, focus your research from what is required and try to translate that. Try to translate that in the 4 cells, and then you will find your research is becoming more thrilling, and your outcome will be more explanatory as a genuine researcher. This is what I can say within the time constraints. Thank you very much, please. Hanji. And now, any questions, please? Yes, Madam Banerjee.
Yes. Thank you so much, sir.
I'm sure I've never rushed through.
No, fine, fine. At least we got a brief of everything, how you collect your data and what you
Yeah,
do, and
yeah, this is
what
correct.
points to concentrate on.
Yeah,
So that was very lucid, sir. Thank you so much.
yeah.
I think we can have a single lecture of every speaker next time and a series.
No,
Like
it is
we are
not.
planning that.
No,
Yeah.
no,
So
but
we will move
it
to
is
our
difficult to go through.